History remembers warriors who fought for survival. But in the lands of the Aztec Empire, warriors were trained for something far greater, not just to win, but to face death, without fear. Because in their world, fear was not something to escape, it was something to master. Hundreds of years ago, in the heart of ancient Mexico, a powerful civilization rose, the Aztec Empire. An empire, not built on comfort, not built on ease, but built on discipline, built on warriors. From a very young age, boys were taken into training, not to be protected, but to be prepared. Prepared for hardship, prepared for struggle, prepared for a life where discipline would decide everything. Because in their world, every person had a role, and the warrior had the responsibility to protect that world. Aztec warriors were not born strong, they were shaped through repetition, through pressure, through pain. They trained day after day, again and again, without stopping, without excuses. They carried heavy loads, they practiced combat until their bodies could no longer continue. And then they continued anyway, because discipline does not grow when things are easy. It grows when things are difficult. They learned to control hunger, to ignore fatigue, to push forward, even when everything inside them said stop. Because a warrior who stops early never becomes strong. The Aztecs understood something powerful. An individual can be strong, but a system is stronger. They created a structured path, a system where every warrior had to earn his position. There were levels, there was order, there were rules, no shortcuts, no easy path, only discipline. Young trainees started from the bottom, and through effort, through consistency, through control, they moved upward. Because in a strong system, progress is not given, it is earned. Among them rose the elite, the Eagle Warriors, the Jaguar Warriors. Warriors who had proven themselves in real battle. They did not speak about strength, they demonstrated it through action, through courage, through discipline, when it mattered most. Their armor was not just protection, it was a symbol of responsibility. Because the stronger they became, the more was expected of them. But their greatest strength was not physical, it was mental. They trained their minds to remain calm in chaos, to stay focused under pressure, to act without hesitation. Because hesitation creates weakness, and weakness creates failure. They accepted that fear would come, but they refused to let it control them. Because once you control fear, fear loses its power. The Aztecs believed discipline was stronger than fear, because fear is temporary. It appears and disappears, but discipline remains. It stays. Even when motivation fades, it guides you. When things become difficult, it pushes you forward. When everything feels heavy. Because discipline is not about feeling ready, it is about acting, even when you are not. Their battles were intense, brutal, close. There was no distance, no safety. Every movement mattered. Every decision had consequences. There was no time to think, only time to act. And only those who had trained with discipline could act without hesitation. Because hesitation is the difference between victory and defeat. With this mindset, the Aztec warriors expanded their empire. They faced resistance, they faced opposition, they faced stronger enemies. But they did not stop. They adapted. They continued. They grew, not because they were lucky, but because they were prepared, because they trusted their system, because they trusted their training, because they trusted each other. And this is where most people fail. They look for shortcuts. They look for easy paths. They rely on motivation, but ignore discipline. They start strong, but they do not stay consistent. And without consistency, nothing lasts. Because success is not built in one moment, it is built through repetition, through daily effort, through discipline, over time. For the Aztecs, being a warrior was not just a role, it was an identity, a way of life, a commitment to something greater than themselves. They did not fight for personal gain, they fought for purpose, for structure, for their people, and that purpose gave them strength that fear could not break. The world today is different, but the struggle remains the same. Distraction, fear, lack of discipline. People wait to feel ready, but warriors train until they are ready. They do not depend on motivation, they depend on discipline, because discipline is what creates results. The Aztec warriors did not wait for the perfect moment. They created it through repetition, through consistency, through discipline. They embraced challenge, they accepted discomfort, they moved forward, even when it was difficult. But there was something even deeper behind the strength of the Aztec warriors. It was not just training, it was belief. They believed that discipline was a sacred duty, not something temporary. Not something optional, but something that defined who they were. Because in their world, a warrior was not measured by how strong he looked, but by how well he controlled himself. They understood that real power does not come from the body alone. It comes from the mind. And the mind is shaped through repetition, through control, through daily effort that no one sees. Because the greatest battles are not fought outside. They are fought inside. Against doubt. Against fear. Against the desire to quit. And the warriors who win those battles become unstoppable. The Aztecs trained not just to fight enemies, but to defeat weakness within themselves, because they knew if they could control themselves, they could control anything. And this is what made them different. This is what made them powerful. While others waited for the right moment, they prepared. While others hesitated, they acted. While others feared, they moved forward. Because discipline gave them clarity, and clarity gave them power. Over time, this mindset spread through their entire system, from the youngest trainee to the most elite warrior. Everyone followed the same principle: train, repeat, improve, and never stop. Because stopping was the only real failure, and this is why their legacy remains. Not because of their victories alone, but because of the mindset that created those victories. A mindset built on discipline, on control. On purpose, and on the belief that greatness is earned, not given. And over time, that made them unstoppable, not because they were fearless, but because they controlled their fear. If this warrior lesson strengthened your mindset, a like, a share, or a subscribe might just be your modern way of honoring discipline in a distracted world.